We need to legalize bribery to fix politics. Let me explain. Just being completely upfront, I have zero interest in trying to sway your political beliefs. Zero. Regardless of whatever political party you may agree with or whatever ideologies you align yourself with, there's one thing that's clear. It's that politicians never fail to disappoint us. See, these already wealthy, multi-millionaire scam artists, politicians, by the way, they sway their paycheck-to-paycheck voters to donate towards their campaign with sweet promises they know they're not going to keep once they're elected. To add insult to injury, they sit themselves on these fancy boards and decide how to spend our taxpayer money on lobbyist mega donors via government contracts. And if that wasn't enough, they enrich themselves. They trade stocks on these companies with insider information, directly screwing over everyday investors. So if you haven't caught on to the point that I'm trying to make here, it's that these scam artists from all political parties, by the way, they've legalized stealing. They've legalized stealing from you, me, everybody, in really creative ways. And we don't really have a way to fight back. Or so they think. Isaac, what do you mean by legalizing bribery? I might have agreed with all the other stuff you said. That's the single stupidest idea I've ever heard come out of someone's mouth. I get it. Let me cook for a sec. So bribery is actually already legal, and it's being weaponized against you, whether you know it or not. These mega donors, they shove hundreds of millions of dollars into politicians' faces, and they get them to bend the law in their favor. So, if that doesn't sound like bribery, I don't know what is. So, the yearly spending on bribery, lobbying, is $4.5 billion, right? The U.S. has around 342 million people. So considering these two facts, the fix for this power imbalance and this cheating or bribery, it's actually really, really simple. It's stupidly simple. We just need to beat them at their own game. So how do you beat them at their own game? You raise the $4.5 billion from everyday people, and that's every year, right? So you think 342 million people pool together $1.10 a month on average, and we pool all that together, and that adds up to $4.5 billion every year for $1 a month. And every month we dangle this $376.2 million. This is how much we have in spending power every month, assuming everyone gives $1. And so basically we dangle this $376 million bounty over these politicians' heads, and we force them to listen to our ideas. So, if they listen to the people, they get the $376 million every month, every single month. But if they fail to listen, they can just keep drooling away at the prize money until they cave in. So that's step number one. Raise money from everyday people, $1 a month on average per person. You think about your Netflix, Starbucks, come on, $1 a month, that's pretty doable. Now, number two, you just need to stop donating to these poor multimillionaire politicians that, convince you with sweet words that they should get your donation towards their campaign because they're going to fix every problem in the world. Spoiler alert, they're not. So a few things to point out. $1 a month gives the people more power than the most powerful people and companies in the world combined. So when I said that $4.5 billion figure, that's all companies, all powerful people combined in the world. And we could beat them. Easy. $1 a month. And so, as you may suspect, $10 a month gives the people 10 times that purchasing power. So, depending on what the average per person is, you can have more or less power. And so by legalizing bribery, we give the people a voice equal to or greater than the most powerful people and companies in the world. That's crazy. All right, so what do we get out of legalizing bribery? And where does vote map come into play with all this? So in my vision, I see vote map fixing broken democracies around the world and solving the flaws of representative democracy, flaws of the two-party system. It'll give the people power over companies and individuals. It's going to counter corruption. It's going to fix the slow or no feedback loop in democracy. It's going to fix political extremism, or at least curb it. It's going to fix wasteful government spending. And we're going to integrate with these government tax systems one day in the future. And so, you can think okay, these are all issues at the federal level. Yeah, but it also applies to the state. It applies to the city, the school, the neighborhood. It applies to a lot of things. And it's going to be more than just federal, state, city, school. It's going to be way more than that. It's going to be more than government politics. It's going to help stop fraud in nonprofits. It's going to boost businesses, big and small. And we're going to give the people a say in businesses. We're going to reduce waste and more. We're going to shed light on scams by companies, nonprofits, individuals. We're going to give fans power over their favorite sports teams and a little power over their favorite artists' decisions. We're going to compete with Linktree and Similar, and we're also going to compete with Shopify, Squarespace, and Similar. Now, Isaac, that sounds great and all, but how is VoteMap going to do this, right? That's a good question. So we're going to fix all these issues, and it actually hinges on two simple things. Number one, let voters put bounties being money, on issues, and whoever solves that issue, they get awarded that bounty. So in that political example before, if politicians that actually solve problems and don't just create problems, they get awarded that $376.2 million every month. That's pretty juicy. And number two, we're going to convert this bounty money into stablecoin crypto backed by the US dollar. And hey, if you heard crypto and just shut your brain off, I don't blame you, bro. But, it's going to be backed by the US dollar. We're not making any scam coin, none of that. I'm interested in allowing voters to track exactly where their money's going. And that's what crypto enables us to do. So to be clear, these problems are much bigger than just the USA. We're going to roll out to countries around the world, regardless of political system, and we're going to solve all these issues. And we're going to start with our partners first, being, Canada, Europe, Japan. So yeah. You know, anytime politics is brought up, we think of the same old divisive topics that we're all tired of arguing about. But in a proper democratic system, and I'm saying that as in one that's not fueled with anger and divisive topics, democracy has so much more to offer than these tiresome arguments. So when's the last time you got anything useful out of politics? Let me put it that way. When's the last time you got something you wanted? When's the last time your street had that pothole filled? That pothole that's been there for years. Like, did electing an elected official actually help? Or, has your state's electric grid actually improved? And can it actually handle a winter storm now? And is it connected to the rest of this country's grid? Why not? Or, have you ever thought about like why do countries even go to war? And I think that's such a stupid question. But it's extremely unpopular with the people, right? So like it's like why do people even bother going to war? It's just gonna kill people, and there's like no net positive for the people. And in a perfect world, democracy should have fixed these issues. It hasn't, and that's because it's people with money, and basically that means people with power. They decide the course of history. They decide the big, they decide the small things. And VoteMap's goal is to democratize everything. Okay. And what I mean by that is power should be in the hands of the people to decide history. So by legalizing bribery, you get to decide to fix those pesky potholes. You get to fix your state's crappy infrastructure. You get to tell your head of state, we're not going to go to war. You get to decide the course of history, right? And so, that's what VoteMap's really all about. It's about letting the people vote on the roadmap of the future. And that's where the name comes from. Vote on the roadmap of the future, VoteMap. And VoteMaps can achieve this by being a platform between ideas and problem solvers. In the politics example, politicians only get paid if they actually pass legislation that follows the will of the people. Now, like if you think about like the idea of like the roadmap to the future, it's like super exciting, dude. Like me personally, I would love to vote towards a future with these beautiful walkable cities, high-speed public transit, and affordable housing or cost of living. Like I'd love to see a future like that. But we're not going to get that unless like we ask for it and we push for it hard. And can you tell by my list, I went to Japan recently, and I miss it a lot. I want to bring the walkable cities of Japan, the high-speed public transit, affordable housing, cost of living. I want to bring all that over here. But we can't do that unless we do something about it. And, I'm happy to put more money where my mouth is. I'm committed to voting $10,000 on issues I want solved. And, VoteMap's not just going to be for politics and government, right? So we can put this money towards individuals, small businesses, companies, charities, nonprofits, and more. And I already mentioned the full list of things I wanted to solve earlier, and I have a really long notes section over here. I'm already kind of running low on time, so I'm going to scroll past these. I'm going to talk about it at the very end of this video if you want to stick around. But, that's really what VoteMap's all about. It's about the future and deciding it with our own hands. All right, so if you've made it to this point in the video, you're probably over 30 because no one under 30 has the attention span to make it this far. Hey, props to you, though. Anyways, to restate, I have zero interest in swaying your political beliefs. Rather, I'm in the business of solving problems. Our democracy is broken, and it's an engineering and distribution problem. My goal is to rebalance the incentives of democracy, which is currently who can scam people the most to the best of their abilities. And I want to reshape that super altruistic goal into 3 core principles. Ideocracy might be a made-up word, don't quote me on that, but it's great ideas should shape the future. Meritocracy, people who implement these ideas that shape the future should be rewarded appropriately. And 3, true democracy. We want to work towards a true democracy where everyone has a say, as opposed to our current system, which is a representative democracy. And it's gotten us to where we are. Not that it's not great, but it can definitely be improved. Democracy is just like any other system, right? Or any other machine, whatever. It has its inputs and outputs, and over time it gets outdated. And just like any other system that gets outdated, it needs to get replaced, repaired, something to get it to run better again. And so, the world changes fast, especially our current world today with all the things going on, but we need to repair democracy, and that's really what this is all about. And so anyways, to do this, we're going to need 2 things. We're going to need a highly available, reliable, and trustworthy open source platform, being VoteMap. And by the way, if I ever close source it, just like light the whole thing on fire and start over. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see any good reason for anyone to close source this kind of a project. Number 2, we need buy-in from 342 million people in the USA and counting, and eventually 8.3 billion people worldwide and counting. And we need buy-in from the world's most powerful companies. They need to know that this works. So this all brings me to the next question. Why am I announcing a product with zero lines of code? I don't even have like a Venn diagram. I don't have anything for y'all, bro. And it's kind of because like I'm half hoping someone hears this idea and they just steal it, run with it, and I never have to like worry about this pain in the butt again. Like everything's fixed for me, and I get my Japanese city in the US and everything's jolly. It sounds like a major pain in the butt to create. I'm not gonna lie. I hope someone steals this idea. Please steal this idea. Please steal this idea. And do it the right way. But, assuming I get stuck with the short straw, then to achieve VoteMap's goals, we're going to need 3 things. We're going to need money. And right now I can cover money as long as it doesn't bankrupt me. As we scale, it's going to be harder. 2, I need people smarter than me, preferably in fintech, crypto, but most importantly, a heart to change the world, and you have to be willing to build the future of democracy, because that's really what you're doing. But you have to be willing to do it without compensation, which it's not ideal. I'm not getting paid for this either. So we will hopefully come up with a way to compensate in the future, but I'm not making any promises right now. Anyways, number 3, we need communities and people that command a lot of attention. So your neighborhood communities, your next door communities, like the next door app, organizations, influencers, whatever. And, I think that these are all going to come as a function of time, so that's why I'm trying to get the word out early. I'm trying to get it out and, basically I have this to say. If you're interested in democratizing everything, and you can provide money, you can provide brain power and time, elbow grease, and if you can provide attention, then please follow Isaac.Yang, pretty much on all platforms. I prefer X, Threads, or Instagram. And follow vote_map on all social media platforms. Because, really, we just really need, like, a community of like-minded people, and we just need to start. We just need to start building the future of democracy. And, okay, so we made it to this part of the video. I'm very open to suggestions, valid criticism. I love getting into arguments on Twitter. Not really, but I will argue if I have to. Please tweet at Isaac.Yang with any genuine concerns and criticism. And please keep in mind, extreme pessimism. Like, I don't need to be hearing, like, just, like, pessimism, like, oh, we can't do it. Like, no, I don't need any of that, bro. Like, it's just going to set us backwards. I want genuine criticism, valid criticism, and suggestions. And so, okay, I'll end on this. I hope that, I was kind of drumming it up a lot this video to try to get people excited about this idea, but you really are building the future of democracy. So especially you're a developer, if you're an influencer, if you got money, if you're Mr. Moneybags, then, hey, you got to hit me up on preferably X. But yeah, I hope you'll help join and build the future of democracy. Now, worth noting, I don't expect to put any meaningful time into VoteMap until at least after June 2026, when I expect to release Guide AI, my other app. So I'm getting the word out early, but and we still got some time before I even have time to start on this kind of idea. So I'm building it either way, whether people join in or not. But I suggest that you do hop on the train. All right, stop talking. Next part of this video is going to be explaining how I think we're going to solve all those issues. Okay, stop talking. Bye.